Extreme E is a race series of 5 races that go around the world. It's been created to kind of highlight different climate issues that are going on, and we go to those locations and race with a full electric vehicle. There's 2 drivers in the car, 1 male, 1 female, so you have to do a driver swap in between. It's quite a challenge because this off-road car has never really done anything but just these Extreme E events. My position in the team is as a race engineer, and I sort of oversee what we're doing at every event. So before the event, when we arrive, what setup we need, and then when we go to the actual event, how we're going to run the sessions. I work alongside my sister, who's our performance engineer, and between us we try to get the best package performance out of the car so that we can go as fast as possible.
What does it look like when you prepare for a race, and how has it been in Extreme E?
Each race has been completely different. So the first race in Saudi Arabia was a real learning experience for everybody. We did pretty well. We got to the final. We sort of qualified through different rounds. And not many teams last year were able to even do that. They would sort of be knocked out in the semi-finals. So that was a huge thing. Since then, we've sort of learned a lot more about how the car works. There's a huge amount on the control system side that we try to do. So distributing the power across the 2 different axles so you can use it to be more rear-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. And that's been interesting to learn and practice with the drivers. A huge challenge of the series is that you don't know where you're racing. So you've never seen the track layout, you've never seen the surface. It's very much learn as you go along and make the best of what you can do. So that's been quite interesting. At the same time, we've got a good group of people. We work really well together. There's only actually 9 of us on the team, including the 2 drivers. So you've got 2 engineers, a group of mechanics, and a team principal. So being so small, everyone has to kind of just muck in and get on with the job. So it's been good.
So Lena, sustainability is a key focus for Extreme E. So what are you doing to be sure that you are contributing to a sustainable future as part of the races?
So the series was based on the idea that, or the principle rather, that when we go racing, everything that we take with us, we take away. So a lot of the products that we use, they're very environmentally friendly. There's nothing that we leave behind. There's no carbon footprint that's left there, no rubbish, no nothing like that. That's quite unique because in motorsport, when you go to the racetrack, the products that you use to clean the cars and things like that, some of those chemical-based elements are just not that great for the environment in general. So we've had to kind of rethink how we use those products and materials. The racing obviously is with an electric car. To charge up the batteries, there are set times during the day where there's a specific battery unit that's used to kind of generate the power for the whole paddock for the 10 teams that have got cars. And we're given the amount of energy that we can use across the day to charge the car up for the sessions. All of that is based on a hydrogen technology, which is also quite unique because that kind of thing doesn't really exist in the mainstream, but that's different. Normally you'd get a generator that's pumping out, exhaust fumes from a diesel-driven unit to charge up batteries or cars and things like that. So it's quite unique in that the whole idea of it is you are going to locations where there's something that's going on maybe nearby that we need to highlight, and then we kind of race, but we try not to leave anything behind so that if you went back there, you wouldn't know that Extreme E had been racing on that environment. The areas where we have the course laid out, there are environmental scientists who are working with Extreme E, so they will go and look at the area and map out the course layout that we need to use, but they'll make sure that it's not disturbing anything else in the natural world so that we don't mess with that.
So we have shared values when it comes to sustainability, when it comes to innovation, and also we have shared values when it comes to DE&I. And I was hoping you can touch on what DE&I means to McLaren.
So diversity and inclusion is really important for McLaren, especially at the moment because we see the faces that we see in motor racing and you don't see too many females, and Extreme E is trying to change that. That's why there's a partnership between the drivers of having a male and a female. Our team is quite unique in that we have 2 female engineers and a female driver. So actually Tana, for example, is the odd one out in that kind of group. But it's interesting to see the dynamic that goes on there. We've won races in Extreme E. We've made it to the finals in Extreme E. That pretty much is the proof that you need. We can achieve everything that anybody else can do. And it's good to see that that proof is there, because hopefully that will help people to understand that you can do anything you want in life, and you can be involved in engineering, you can be involved in driving. It's possible for anybody to do. Because Extreme E has this idea of having one male and female driver, what it's helped to do is put female drivers up on a platform to show what they're actually capable of. We have female drivers that are now competing against the men and beating them. And it's unique in that there's no other series that does that. And that's great. It fulfills everything that McLaren want to kind of show with DE&I to their audience, but also to their own company, to prove that this is the right way to go about racing and to be completely inclusive with everybody.
It's really important at VMware as well, but it's also such a good message to pass on to our future generations. Because it really is, it's not about gender. It's about anyone can do anything. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, it's about the talent. If you've got good people and you've got them doing the job that you want, you've definitely got a good base for your team to be able to perform and to deliver results. And it really shouldn't be about, gender, color of skin, anything like that. It's the bigger picture of getting the best people in.
So, Lena, you must be asked all the time about how can race car driving and sustainability go together? How do you respond to that? Because what you're doing is all about sustainability. It's a very different type of racing.
Yeah. Traditionally, racing is kind of seen as internal combustion engines, maybe hybrids, pretty much burning the fossil fuels and doing everything that's not really sustainable. When you look at it as a bigger picture, I think over the last 7-8 years, we've been questioning a lot of that because of some of the kind of Dieselgate scandals that have been going on, but also we know what's going on with climate change, and you can see it worldwide now, the effect that that's having, and that's all human input into making natural disasters even worse than they were before, or actually introducing new ones. With Extreme E being an electric series, there is a completely different concept, which some people in motor racing probably found quite difficult to understand when electric cars were starting to race in Formula E, which is sort of like a bit of a sister series. So this is the same people that have come up with a concept for Extreme E. Quite a few people I know of didn't give it any time. They said, oh, there's no way that's going to last. The cars are really quiet. How can we possibly go electric racing? It's not the future. We're going to be sticking to internal combustion engines. They might be running on some different fuels. But it's proven wrong, because they're now going into the Generation 3 car in Formula E. And now you've got this series in off-road racing, which is into its second year, going to expand again next year with another team, with maybe more races. But that sustainability element is now part and parcel of the whole point of going racing. It does take a mentality change. Racing's sort of been the same for a long time, the way cars have been powered to go around racetracks or even go rallying, but that has to alter, because if the automotive and mainstream engineering is looking at different fuels or different concepts for how you kind of get from A to B, and cars are part and parcel of everything that we do now. They're more than just a luxury, it's a commodity that we use all the time. If that's changing, motorsport has to keep up with it and has to do the same thing. I mentioned before about the type of cleaning products and things like that we use at the track. That's like a whole untapped bit of motorsport that hasn't really been looked into, because they've never had to. So when you've now got an idea behind go racing, you've got to leave nothing behind. That automatically forces you to think differently. And I think that's a really good thing to do, because we do have to move with the times. Otherwise, we're going to become a bit of a relic, and we can't do that.
It's great. It's great for people to be able to learn from everything that you're doing with Extreme E. Thank you. Amanda, we have big goals at VMware around our ESG promises and our sustainability goals. How do you think about it with our product innovation and everything that we're doing around sustainability?
Well, I think, VMware, we started x86 virtualization. And so by default, we were a sustainable company from the beginning. We might not have thought of it that way, but when folks started being more intentional about sustainability, we realized the millions of metric tons that we've saved the world through server virtualization. And so now moving into network and security virtualization and storage virtualization, automation, and partnering with folks that build out clouds with our technology, we have the opportunity to be able to impact CO2 output across the world. And I find that really fascinating. So we continue to develop things like sustainability dashboards and our monitoring and observability tools. We look at ways to do more sustainable engineering. And then also when it comes to managing devices, mobile devices, laptops, things like that, we have capabilities in there to reduce the amount of power that they consume.
Which is so much why the partnership with Mclaren and Extreme E was good for us to be able to think about how Mclaren and Extreme E are thinking about the future sustainability, because it's part of our own goals of being able to help companies with their particular goals around everything sustainability. Lena, Amanda, thank you so much. It has been a really great conversation.
It's been a lot of fun. Lena, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. It's been my pleasure to speak to you both.